Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator. We run it out of Silicon Valley, but with a global footprint, with the mission of helping 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. And these free roundtables have been going on for a long, long time. This is our 298th session. And we have tons of these private roundtables as well as part of our premium program. So we are very busy working with entrepreneurs around the world, but using the online medium to connect in real time on a regular basis. That's the method that we have adopted very successfully, and we've had literally, thousands and thousands of people participate. These roundtables have had more than 40,000 participants over the years. So if you're live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M. And if you are following us on Twitter, our two handles are at 1M1M and at Shromana. We publish a lot of rich content through all our social media channels. And the YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables, where you will find after this show the recording for this one as well as all prior roundtables. So another great body of work that you would learn a lot from if you're looking for that type of material to learn with. Now, what's on your screen are the call-in instructions. We're not quite ready for you to call in yet, but we will be, and I will put these slides up again for you when we are ready for you to call in. But do line up your questions as you're going through the session with us. Definitely get ready to participate so that you can ask questions, weigh in on topics, and so on and so forth. We're going to start today's session with a special guest, Ashu Garg, who's a general partner at Foundation Capital. And Ashu is very much in the swing of things these days of what's happening, and we are going to learn from him on certain specific portions of the entrepreneurship universe that Ashu is particularly passionate about. Welcome, Ashu. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here as well.
So, Ashu, what is your read of how the venture capital industry has evolved in Silicon Valley over the last 5 years? Let's start there.
So the last 5 years have been probably, in some ways, the most exciting, period for venture capital and entrepreneurship in the Bay Area, but also have been sort of, the basis for a gradual buildup of, one might call it enthusiasm, one might call it a bubble. Time will tell, but it's probably been the most frenzied period in entrepreneurship and in venture capital in the history of what is, a relatively young industry.
And what do you see as the key trends at this point?
And when you're thinking about trends, are you thinking about trends in venture capital or in technology that's influencing venture capital, or both?
Both, but technology entrepreneurship as it pertains to venture capital.
Got it. So I think on the technology side, there are three trends that we are spending a lot of time thinking about, and by no means is this comprehensive. The first is really the infusion of machine learning and predictive analytics into all spheres of life. I mean, if you think about what Google does with Google Search and the sophistication of being able to extract intent and then sort of extract answers to what you might want, I think you're starting to see that across the board. Every form of enterprise software will, over the course of this decade, essentially become a machine learning application.
Yep.
We're seeing that, and that trend has profound implications in how software is built. I mean, the term I use somewhat half jokingly is enterprise software will become more like self-driving cars. That is actually true for all consumer software as well. So that's one mega trend. I think the second mega trend that we see is we are seeing the emergence of marketplaces between a host of small business owners or individual entrepreneurs and consumers. And those consumers could be in the enterprise or individuals. You know, and these marketplaces are disrupting traditional oligopolies. Uber is the obvious example, but I think we are seeing this across the board, across industries. I mean, we have marketplace businesses, like Lending Club, that have disrupted traditional banking. We have marketplace businesses like Peerspace that are disrupting the event management space, and the list goes on and on. The third mega trend in technology is the trend around IoT, and the notion that you're going to have internet-connected devices that are part of virtually everything you do. And this isn't a new trend. I mean, people have talked about this probably for a decade, if not more. But I think it's finally coming to fruition. I mean, I recently bought a internet-connected shirt, which sort of really tracks every muscle that is being moved, you know, in my body as I work out. And it's once you start doing that, it's hard to go back.
So, folks, those of you who are listening to this conversation, I want to give you some pointers. As you know, you think of these macro trends. Now you want to double-click down and see what kinds of problems are people solving and what kinds of companies are developing in that space. If any of these trends are of interest to you, and if you want to do that double-clicking down, you can go to our blog and follow. As far as machine learning and AI is concerned, we have two relevant thought leadership series. One is Thought Leaders in Artificial Intelligence, the other is Thought Leaders in Big Data. The big data has been running for more than 5 years, and AI has been running for a couple of years, so you'll find quite a lot of depth to explore those topics. The marketplace one, we have lots of case studies on the blog. We don't have a thought leadership in marketplaces series, but we do have thought leadership, for instance, in fintech, which is one that we think is going through disruptive trends. And Ashu, your firm has a special commitment to fintech, right?
Absolutely. You know, we have made very large investments in fintech marketplaces. You know, we were early investors in Lending Club, early investors in Lending Home, which is in the mortgages space. In India, I'm on the board of a company called Funds India, which is transforming retail savings in India. So that's been a big category for us.
And the third one you mentioned, which is IoT, we do have a Thought Leaders in Internet of Things series as well. So if you want to double-click down on that one and understand the nuances of that trend, you can do that as well. So I want to switch the interview to a different topic that you spoke with me a year back about, which is marketing technologies. It was a core area of interest at least a year ago. Help us understand what drives that interest.
Yeah. So that is absolutely a core area of interest for us, and I would put it is one of the trends in the broad bucket of, you know, the transformation of software using machine learning. Marketing technology is probably by far the first category where that happened, and we've definitely made very significant investments and a big bet on that with a lot of success. I think what is driving that is a fundamental shift in change in consumer behavior. Consumers are increasingly consuming content online. They're consuming content across fragmented devices. Media is fragmented. You know, where we had 25 or 30 TV channels, we now have an infinite number of media choices. Human behavior in terms of how we purchase products, the role that the left brain and the right brain plays has changed. I mean, more and more consumers want informational needs to be satisfied in addition to their emotional needs. And there are increasingly, every consumer has an individual path to purchase. You know, I use the term, there's an infinite path to purchase for the same item. And that is very true these days because every one of us can, you know, start a purchase on the internet, or on Quora, or on Facebook. And so those consumer trends are really what's driving the transformation of marketing itself. And that, as part of that transformation, technology is playing an increasing role in that industry. I mean, we believe that marketing technology, which today represents probably 1% or so of all spend in marketing, will grow more than tenfold and will represent more than 10% of all spend in marketing. And that is really a $100 billion plus opportunity.
So can you double click on that segment, the MarTech segment, as it's come to be known as? Talk about investments that you've made, maybe a couple of examples, and how do you analyze those investments, and what was it particularly interesting about those companies that led you to invest in those?
Absolutely. And so let me pick two very different investments. One is a company called TubeMogul. This is an investment I made almost 6 years ago. They're the leading media buying platform for large brand-oriented enterprises. So if you're a large brand advertiser, think Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal,
yeah,
Heineken, TubeMogul is the platform you're using to buy video advertising across the internet. You're now using it, in fact, to also buy television and increasingly to buy all forms of media. The core trend we identified at the time, the initial bet was online video was taking over from traditional linear TV, and that more and more consumers were spending time online watching video, and we were making the bet that marketers will follow. That bet has played out very well, and so, we were just early in the curve, and the company sort of rode that wave. The second wave the company then rode was the idea that media will no longer be bought over martinis or drinks. Media will increasingly be bought using software akin to sort of how stocks are bought on a stock exchange. And so it really became one of the first buy-side brokers for media buying on exchanges. The third trend the company rode was that the fragmentation of exchanges would require a buy-side platform that could integrate media from different exchanges. And so those are the trends the company has ridden. The company is now a public company, and it is by far the market leader in this category, but it's still very small. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a very nascent market, and I expect this market to grow tenfold over the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
A second example is a company called Localytics. Localytics is a leading technology provider for mobile marketing. So if you have a mobile app and you're trying to drive mobile engagement through notifications, through messaging, through a variety of other engagement channels, Localytics is the leading provider of technology in that space. They combine very deep analytics with personalization through machine learning, and we talked about that trend a minute ago, with tight integration into a variety of execution channels so that you can send personalized notifications to consumers that will drive engagement.
Mm-hmm.
That's an investment we made 2.5 years ago. It's a much younger company, and we're doing very well. And it has more of a what's called SaaS business model.
Am I observing right to say that within MarTech, what you are looking to do is invest in companies that have machine learning as the core enabling technology?
I would say within MarTech, machine learning is almost always a part of the core enabling technology. And so, at some level that is table stakes in the marketing technology, and it has been now for 10 years. I think what we really look for is evidence that you have a technology platform that can scale. It is very easy in marketing technology to find a widget that works for some small segment of marketers or that solves a small piece of the problem for all marketers. The question we ask ourselves is, how does this company have $1 billion in revenues?
Right.
And what evidence is there to suggest that the product they're selling can achieve that kind of scale?
And at a pace that is venture scale pace.
And at a pace that is venture scale.
So now the media buying one has been kind of probably the most obvious area which needed to be automated and needs to be automated, will be automated because of the trends that you described, and machine learning applies very well into that space. Can you talk about other areas in marketing technology where, powered by machine learning, there is venture scale opportunity that you've identified?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about very broad themes. The beauty of entrepreneurship is startups always prove investors wrong. And so I'm sure there are folks in this audience who will have ideas that we haven't even thought of. So with that caveat, last year I published a book called The Decade of the CMO, and it's available online, so I'd encourage people to check it out. But in The Decade of the CMO, we talk about 5 major technology trends within marketing and 5 buckets of areas where I think multi-billion-dollar companies will emerge. The first is around measuring ROI. CMOs want a seat at the executive table, but to get that seat on the table, they need to be able to say that every time we spend $100, this is the impact on revenues. They also need to be able to say that every time we spend $100, these are the 3 things that work that we should do more of, and these are the 3 things we should do less of. The ability to optimize the media mix, as it's called, or the marketing mix. And that requires the ability to measure what's working and what's not working. And while there are a lot of people that solve pieces of the ROI puzzle, it is yet to be solved in a holistic manner. So that's one big bucket. The second big bucket we already talked about, which is media buying. And as you said, it was one of the early, areas of innovation. And I would say to a large extent, it's hard to find interesting things there, but, never say never. The third is all brands are becoming publishers, and content marketing is becoming as important as advertising. And I think there is a lot of opportunity for providers, both in the B2B, business to business, and in the business to consumer side, to build technology platforms to enable marketers to do content marketing at scale. And that's a very hard problem because the number of channels that across which you have to do content marketing, the number of pieces of content is very, very large. But that is a large unsolved problem. The fourth major theme around marketing technology is personalization. Consumers demand personalization of their marketing experience. And when you provide a personalized experience, there's tons of data to show that the engagement is dramatically higher. The challenge is doing personalization at scale is very hard. It is a big data problem, it's a machine learning problem, but it also has issues around privacy, security, and other things. And so technology providers that can solve the personalization at scale, I think, have a huge opportunity. The fifth key is, really around the reinvention of the interface between sales and marketing. We believe that increasingly marketing will close the deal. And what I mean by that is marketing will go from being generating leads and passing them on to sales to really pushing the leads down the funnel to the point that you can actually convert consumers to users using marketing technology. Dropbox does that. They're a great example of that. And I expect that to happen more and more often. And I think software and technology to enable that is increasingly valuable. So those are some major themes, but I'm sure the audience will come up with many more ideas.
So let me, again, audience, let me point you to a few prior sessions. We had the founder of Bloomreach here, which an excellent company in this whole personalization area, one of the market leaders in the e-commerce personalization, retail personalization areas. If you want to double-click down on that trend, we have an excellent case study, and there are many others on the blog. The one that is very close to our heart, because we have been very successful using that, is content marketing. And I share your belief that every brand basically now needs to become a publisher, and that's extremely difficult to do, right?
Yep.
So what have you seen that have caught your attention, or what have you seen as examples of people doing it well in ways that can become, pillars or bases, foundations of scalable solutions in that area?
So, so it's a great question. And the shift from being a brand marketer who uses advertising as a primary communication channel to becoming a content marketer is a massive one. And we see a lot of SaaS companies, these are software as a service companies in Silicon Valley, use content marketing very successfully. And in some ways, it's easier for them because they don't have a legacy that they are competing with internally. They don't have the baggage that comes with having done brand marketing for decades. When you look at large brands, what you see is large brands like Pepsi and Coke have done a very good job of doing content marketing around an event. So whether it's the World Cup or it is some other, or the Olympics, you'll see massive programs put around tweets and content to engage their audience around that event. But they've really struggled to build an ongoing content marketing channel such that as consumers we can both be entertained and informed by the content that they are providing. And the reason that has been hard is that it requires a fundamental shift. You have to build a newsroom and make that the center of the marketing organization. And you have to think of the newsroom as the alternative to your ad agency in a sense. It has to be done in-house. And once you have that newsroom in place, that newsroom then begins to distribute content across channels. But that is a work in progress.
In some cases, actually, the newsroom analogy probably is not the right analogy. Think about a toothbrush brand or a, something like a detergent brand. That's not news-oriented. I think actually if you think about how to do content marketing for those kinds of brands, it's a very difficult problem.
It is very difficult. So the newsroom analogy, I'm using the word very loosely. It's the idea that you have to have a team of folks that are thinking about content creation.
Yeah.
Thinking about content creation in the context of what users want. So, take a toothpaste brand. Talking about your toothpaste and the color and the flavor is probably not that interesting for the audience. No. But maybe dental hygiene is. Maybe stories about how the brand is engaging with changing the lives of poor people in third world countries is of interest to people. Talking about some of the innovations in technology that they're implementing in-house to dramatically change the quality of the toothpaste may be interesting to people. So I think they have to find ways to connect. I think if as a brand you cannot connect with your audience, then the question is, do you deserve to be a brand or are you just a commodity?
Yep. And your newsroom analogy actually works very well in our context, because we essentially run a part of our business as a media company. And we publish really great content, and we don't even think of it as publishing content for the sake of marketing. We just publish great content because we believe in this propagation of messages, information, inspirational stories of role models, case studies, etc., which is our way of delivering on the value proposition of 1 million by 1 million. And for us, actually, content marketing has been a tremendous blessing in, the trends that the audience and the world is connecting with content in a way that it hasn't before has been tremendously interesting as a journey.
Absolutely, and you do a great job of it, so congratulations.
Thank you. So let's, finish the conversation on the topic of unicorns. I expect this unicorn bubble is in the process of bursting. What happens next?
Someone I know well said this to me, that 5 years from now, the aggregate value of the unicorns, the aggregate market capitalization unicorns, will be at least as high as it is today. And I agree with him. What is going to change is that a lot of companies that we thought of as unicorns will just go away and will never be worth what they were thought to be worth. And I think so let me explain that. I think what has happened is that a lot of companies got hyped to the point where their valuations were far ahead of the reality of those businesses.
Yep.
And when that happens, bad things do happen. Some of those companies which deserve to exist will actually die and go away. And so you're going to see a lot of infant mortality. At the same time, the trends in technology are real. The trends in MarTech, the trends in FinTech, the trends in marketplace broadly. And I do believe that technology is going to rout very, very large industries. And so in aggregate, these companies will be worth at least as much as unicorns, if not more, over the next 5 years.
Yeah, so, the way I kind of differentiate between the two categories of unicorns is the real unicorns and the, hyped up pseudo unicorns, basically, which are going to turn into unicorpses, is the terminology we've been using. And then the ones that are good, real unicorns, are going to continue to scale because these are great companies offering great value propositions, have great business models that people are executing on, and they're going to continue to grow into very large, very robust companies. So I actually think the industry is fine. It's just a correction that needed to happen will happen. What about in the very early stage businesses? What trends are you seeing that are really early trends of emerging trends that are really interesting and that can turn into legitimate unicorns?
So I think, I think the beauty of technology is that we're seeing an explosion of innovation across the board. Every traditional industry is under threat, and we see it in financial services. We definitely see it in a variety of other offline industries with marketplace models coming in to disrupt offline models. I think we're seeing a lot of very exciting innovation in drones and in virtual reality. I've been personally spending a lot of time looking at innovations in drones and virtual reality. And that's very, very early days. But imagine what can happen when you can change the cost of imaging or aerial imaging by, 2 or 3 orders of magnitude. I think it's going to create opportunities that we can't even, the use cases and opportunities that are hard to imagine today. Similarly in VR, someone said this to me, this is, I find a great example, but if you look at video gaming and what consumers are doing with video gaming and how video gaming has become a larger industry than movies, I think VR will be bigger than video gaming is today.
Well, there's going to be a fusion of the two as well. Right?
Sorry, say that again?
I said there will be the fusion of those two worlds as well, video gaming and VR.
Absolutely. But I think VR will influence much more than just video gaming. I think if you think of all entertainment, sports entertainment, adult entertainment, movies, will all be transformed. I mean, why would you go see a cricket match or a soccer match in a stadium and then sit in the back seat where you can barely see anything, when you can sit in your own home and have the same experience as a person sitting in the owner's box?
Yep. And I think medicine will change also with virtual reality. There are lots of interesting use cases.
Absolutely.
Very good. On that exciting note, thank you for coming, and we will continue to keep you, inviting you back and chatting and leading our entrepreneur audience in directions that are interesting and exciting. Thank you very much, Ashu.
This was very exciting. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
So, folks, we're going to switch to the mentoring portion of the presentation today. I want to set some expectations before we move forward. Somebody's echoing, streaming echo into the call needs to be handled. Maureen, please work with whoever is doing that. Meanwhile, those of you who are going to be presenting today, please know that this is a working session and we are on your side. Our entire rationale for being here, wanting to work with you, is because we want you to be successful. We have no other agenda. This is not Shark Tank. We're not here to provide entertainment to a large audience of people. That's not why we are here. We're simply here to work with you and to help you grow, to help you tackle the challenges that you're facing. It is hard. Entrepreneurship is difficult, and first-time entrepreneurs have a very, very steep learning curve. We are here to try to accelerate you through that learning curve so that you can also avoid, perfectly avoidable mistakes. Entrepreneurship has been around. Technology entrepreneurship has been around for a long time. The internet has been around for almost 25 years now, right? 22, 23 years, the commercial internet. So we've done a lot. A lot of companies have been built. A lot of entrepreneurship has happened. And we've had the opportunity to learn from many, many, many entrepreneurs who have come ahead of you and ahead of us. And there's no reason not to learn from them. There's no reason to repeat those mistakes and reinvent the wheel. We need to learn from people who have done it before and avoid those mistakes. So that's the kind of ethos of the 1 Million by 1 Million program. One caveat, you may disagree with the feedback you get here today. That's okay. We try to give you feedback that we believe you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I always emphasize that. But what you do with that feedback is entirely up to you. The other point is that there is an obsession in the startup business on raising money. Entrepreneurs think that entrepreneurship equals financing, and that's not true. Entrepreneurship equals customers, revenues, and profits. Financing is optional, exit is optional. So remember that not all businesses can raise money, not all businesses should raise money, and raising money doesn't guarantee success. So you have to kind of define a strategy that makes sure that you're doing the right thing at the right point. If you go and start seeing investors, if you can actually get the meetings prematurely and get rejected by these investors, it's going to be very difficult to get invited back for meetings again. So going to investors prematurely doesn't really help. So anyway, this is kind of the expectation setting. And if you're not pitching today, please do participate by asking questions in the public chat and also call in. We're gonna put up the call-in line shortly. We're gonna start with Peter Heron, based in New York City. Peter, please unmute your line and tell us what you're working on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wait. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here today. And yeah, it's a great thing that you're doing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I'm I've got a clothing brand called I Am Not a Virgin. And what we do is we make eco-sexy essentials for both men and women.
Okay.
I Am Not a Virgin as a name comes from the fact of using non-virgin materials. So we use recycled materials. Currently we're using recycled plastic recycled plastic bottles in the polyester, but we're striving for 100% to use completely non-virgin materials. So our customer today is probably from 18 to 28, but I always think of it like the Rolling Stones. Everybody wants to feel younger. And the big gap that we have is that 91% of millennials believe that eco products are important. And so the real kind of change that we kind of like have to make for customers is make it relevant in clothing. It seems to be more relevant in a lot of other categories. And so am I able to flick on these slides, or is it on your end?
No, you just tell me when you want the slides to be advanced, and I will advance them.
Oh, great, thank you. And so, you know, it used to be where brands would kind of like tell the one-way message. Today, it's completely changed. People want to know, people want transparency, and it's actually the young that are actually demanding that from the products. And so, what our particular product, I kind of like touched on it briefly, and if you can just go back a slide, that'd be great. And so our unique selling proposition is down to the fact that we make a unique fit due to our green technology. And our mission is very simple. We go after three things. One is to make impossibly comfy clothes. Two is to improve the environment. And third is to bring social awareness to the street styles of urban cities in America. So when you're setting up a clothing brand and you're specifically, you know, in eco, it's very, very important that you become a fashion brand first and an eco one second. When I started this first, I was doing it as a denim company. And there's this saying, you can move on to the next slide there. And there's this saying that I used to have, you know, first you make your ass look great and second comes the environment. And it's the same now when we're with eco-sexy essentials. It's got to be fashion first and eco second. We're inherently just doing good because we believe that that's what everyone will eventually have to do as well. Moving on to the next slide, how we acquire customers. My strategy is to marry music, fashion, and the environment. Music and fashion just go hand in hand. They have done for a very long time. There hasn't really been a brand out there that's actually really making noise in the eco space, as far as I'm aware, that's like kind of trendy. And my strategy is to kind of go against music to make that important. We've obviously got this kind of risque name. So if you go to the next slide there, one or all may or may not know of this video, but it was a very popular video for Old Spice called, and it was all basically based around, was targeting women. It had about 50 million kind of hits. The guy who wrote this has actually just come on board. Him and his team are actually writing something for us, and it's specifically around music and fashion. And it's super cool. We're going into production with it in about 2 weeks. So my whole focus really is day one to acquire customers. We have lots of medium and long-term goals, but it's important for us to be aware of what it is to get eyeballs on our website today, because as all of us know, to drive eyeballs to your website is one of the hardest things to do. So with this team and their abilities on the marketing side of things, we're very confident to start there and then move on. We've got a lot of conversations with some very big music people that can't actually kind of talk about right now. But essentially that's where we'll be as an online retailer, and then going on to bricks and mortars. Our plan is to build our own non-virgin store where everything in it will be recycled. So the validation from customers, the key in fashion is always to get write-ups. Some years ago, maybe two, you'll see on the second page, well, first off, we got sued by Richard Branson. He claimed the word virgin, and I'm not a virgin. And that's kind of well publicized over the internet. And then we started, you know, that got us a lot of steam on social media. And from there, I started entering into competitions. in particular, this made Impact New York NYC. We came first prize, and it was an incredibly nice article there that Forbes actually wrote about us. But it's important to be relevant within fashion magazines, and so we're currently being interviewed by a lot of like notable kind of fashion publications. So that's all like yet to come.
I have a question.
Yeah, please do.
Are you selling products already? Is this an operating business, or is it all at concept level?
Yeah, no, you can see us online at iamnotavirgin.com. So we're positioned as an online retailer.
So you do have inventory that you have already produced and design produced, and that's available to buy. So all this publicity that you're generating has a call to action.
Yeah, I mean, our stock levels right now are low, and we're actively seeking investment. And in particular, because we've got a lot of exciting marketing initiatives, we really want to be ready. And so that's really my goal right now, is speaking to investors. So our challenge, obviously, with this kind of like marketing initiatives that we're doing, we really kind of like see ourselves kind of scaling rapidly. And in order to do that, I think one of our main problems is having that right production partner who's kind of, be able to kind of grow with us and also help us and, and creatively looking at the financing and stuff like that. The second challenge, I think, is our ability to build, which again is around this idea of like getting investment. We've got a lot of stuff going on as well with, as I said, music company, music festivals, lots of exciting stuff, but we need to be properly financed. And so the third challenge always is when you grow, and even when we're moving now, even on as small as we are right now, it's always about trying to find key staff. And so that's something that we're always, aware of, and trying to find the best people to make us grow. And yeah, I am not a virgin.
So Peter, my input is that this presentation is not an investor presentation, and that may be not intended. Maybe you didn't intend it to be an investor presentation. It just doesn't have the material that an investor would require to be able to make a judgment. And the other thing is, the state of the business is a little early for professional investors to get involved. My sense, if I were doing this business, I would probably do some crowdfunding and get revenues rolling. And what you can do with crowdfunding is you can, kind of advance sale your products and get people to pay for, your products in advance, and you fulfill the order later or something like that. But you do need to have a plan of how you're going to get the products built. Let's say you get 10,000 orders, how are you going to get them produced, etc. But this needs to become a business. You need to have a good understanding of the financial, fundamentals of the business based on which you would be seeking investment. None of that, I don't sense that any of that is in place right now. The customer acquisition strategy, you haven't presented any customer acquisition strategy. You presented that you've kind of you're talking to some group that has experience. That's not a customer acquisition strategy. And it's not clear to me that that group will be working for you unless you can pay them. So how are you going to solve all that chicken and egg problem before getting to a stage where investors may be interested in you? You need to work that out. There is in every entrepreneur's journey, there is a bootstrapping phase that you need a strategy for, and I don't see that strategy in your presentation. So that's something that you need to work out.
Yeah, thank you so much for the feedback. I think there might have been just a bit of misunderstanding on my side of things as to what is to be presented today. We've got very detailed financial as well as very detailed business plan and investor decks, and we've all that sort of kind of things. But I think when putting this together, I wasn't totally clear as to what was to be expected on this side.
What brings you here? What did you want to accomplish today through this presentation?
I think it's always, for me, it's about sharing our story. I think, you know, as I said, you know, our goal right now is to find investment, and I think that was really it, was to kind of like share, give the top line view of kind of like who we are and what we're about, and gauge if there was anybody out there that would be interested, and obviously get some feedback as to our brand as well.
Okay, so in that case, at least we haven't seen material that would pique the interest of investors based on this presentation. That would be my feedback. If that was your goal, then you could have used this, you know, this slot better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah. Yeah, again, I wasn't too sure as to how and what was to be shared here. So,
all right. Yeah. Thank you for your presentation, Peter.
Thank you.
Hadari, you're up next.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. So, okay, so I'm going to start. So my name is Hadari Oshri, okay, and a few things on myself. Basically, this is whatever I'm going to represent right now. This is Hadari Online. It's an online fashion company. It's my third company, actually, after 2 big failures that I had in the past 8 years. I used to own 7 retail locations, and the best locations in LA, like Rodeo Drive, Century City, and then I used to own a really high-end shoe company. One was the retail, the other one was the wholesale. And this one I started a little bit like about a year ago, something like that, and I could say this is doing really well. Next slide, please.
So let me see if I got this right. This Hadari Online is doing $500,000 a year right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so basically Hadari Online is an online fashion company. It's a place where mother and daughter can basically shop together. Our goal is basically, whatever I did is basically took on my personal experience and put it in the company. Our goal is to empower women and young adults to just go after their dreams, and we're doing it through fashion, because fashion is really, really important. When you look good, you feel good, you have the drive to go out there and really go and accomplish stuff. This is exactly why our price point is between $10 to $49. And the good thing is every single month we deliver a brand new collection. Last year was all about building a whole system. Last year was really, you know, really hard year for us because, you know, we needed to build all our systems. I had a problem with employees, you know, so finally all our forces together, you know, we started in one point, moved to the other one, but thank God right now in the past September, I accomplished Hadari Online, which, can we move to the next slide, please? Can we move to the next slide, please? Oh, yeah.
I did move you to the next slide.
Okay. So basically, wait a second. Give me a second. So basically, can we go? Oh, yeah. Okay. So basically, whenever we come, so we're already working with over 10 sales channels. We started a company from overstock.com. These days we're up for #1 on overstock.com. Okay, we have Amazon, eBay, Rakuten, Sears, all those places. We recently, September, we just opened our first retail location in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. And then we launched Hadari Online, which is our direct sales channels, our online website company. Now, we have a great product. People buy the product because of whatever we stand for. Our place over here is just booming. It's full of people, and girls just come over here just to hang out. The fashion is really good. All we need to do is just to come in front of people's faces. How are we going to do that? It's very, very simple. So I managed to talk, I interviewed over 10, 15 marketing companies, and I finally found a really good one. And I told them, okay, we're a startup company. What we want to do is I need to come in front of people's faces. I don't want to be in magazines. I don't want to be in all those little shows. I don't want to be in all those little places. All I want to do is simply to go to little places, you know, across the U.S., and go to little morning shows. Those mother and daughter, they shop those morning shows every single morning. Those are my clients. And they manage already to schedule us on a few morning shows like that. This is how exactly we're going to get to the clients. This is first. Second, this September, we're planning to do our first runway show in New York. When all this clothing, when the model is going to go down the runway, the products will be already up and running for the clients. After the shows, we're planning to do little receptions when people are going to shop the products right there.
Badari, let me ask the question that you asked that I asked you earlier. You said in the first slide you're doing $500,000 in sales.
Right.
What channel are you doing $500,000 in sales through right now?
We have overstock. Last year, we started the company through Zulily. With 3 months, you know, when I started the company, I didn't have any plans. So I knew how to launch a wholesale company. So I simply bought inventory and sold it on Zulily. Okay, so whatever happened is when I sold merchandise on Zulily, turning over around inventory, I recognized we're turning a lot of revenue, and I know what clients want, but this is not money. So we had to change it. So we changed it, and we created, and we had a lot of stock. So all this stock we start selling on overstock. So on overstock, like less than 4 months, we became apparel #1 on overstock because we just created all the sales. So overstock, whatever happened, overstock just give us all those publicity and all those things, so people just start buying our products. So this is exactly how we create a revenue of $500,000. But then I realized that I cannot fly. Yes.
And what is the product? Is it children's clothing or is it women's clothing? What do you say, mother-daughter shopping together? What are we talking about? Zulily primarily was a...
It's a women apparel clothes for women from from the age of 25 to 60. Something like that, yeah. And our price point, yeah. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking that it's a wide range for clothing, but you know, there is so many people, and like my friends, they mother and daughter, they shop together. The girl gets the legging, the mom gets the tunic. You know, so it's this place that I recognize the needs in a woman, and you know, they can find it in that place. Our sizes is between 0 to size 16. So, you know, it doesn't matter what size you are, what's your shape of body, or where you're coming from. You can always come and find something that fits for you. Even all the models that on the website, they're all real girls. They're not over. It's just encouraging women to look good and feel good and dress nice, and they don't need to break their pocket. And the fashion is really good. It's really high fashion.
So Hadari, so far, in what you have described, I haven't yet seen how you are creating a new user experience for mother and daughter to shop together, because Zulily is a flash sale site, and that's not I imagine that there was no mother-daughter shopping experience in your Zulily channel, and Overstock certainly is not a mother-daughter shopping experience. So based on what you've done so far, this $500,000 in sales, what it tells me is that you have a product or a set of products that you know how to sell, and it has found a niche in terms of customers. And So you are able to push merchandise. I have not yet heard something that creates this mother-daughter user experience and what's differentiated about this mother-daughter user experience. I haven't heard that story yet, or how that gets communicated, or how that gets translated into a differentiated user experience. I just haven't heard that yet.
Okay, it's very simple though. You know, when a girls go online and they shop, you know, the product, it can match a girl that she's 25 years old, and there is some product that can match a woman and businesswoman that may be 40, 45, 50 years old. So that can be a mother and daughter. That can be a place, you know, the girls get in and, you know, they just pick up whatever. The mother shop one kind of clothing and the other girl shop another. It's like Zara. When you go to Zara, I'm sure do you have a daughter? Do you have, I don't want to, you know, there's so many kids. Like I know me and my mom were used to go to Zara when I was little, you know, when I was younger. I used to buy my stuff in my section, and my mom bought totally other stuff. It's exactly like that. So
Hadari, I'm not disputing the fact that mothers and daughters shop together and like to shop together. The question I'm asking you to think about is, how do you translate that into an online user experience that is differentiated and special, that would create the next big e-commerce company in fashion apparel? Because I see on the slide, hold on, let me speak. If you're here to ask for feedback, you have to give me the, you know, time to give you feedback. What I see on the slide is that you're interested in investors. What you've presented right now, no investor will be interested in. Unless there's a differentiated user experience, a differentiated value proposition, investors are not going to invest in a company that sells some merchandise through Zulily and some merchandise through Overstock, which is what your company is today. You're going to need to create a, you know, a user experience that is special, that you can build a brand around, that will draw people in, that will have, you know, let's say you're talking about mothers and daughters shopping together, so you have to create an online experience that is that mothers and daughters are going to participate in and find some value in that is different, that they can't find otherwise.
Okay, I understand. I think I misrepresent myself, okay? My goal of my company is to build confidence in women through fashion. This is the goal, and this is what we're doing. My goal in my company is to basically to take all my experience in the past few years and give it forward to women. There are so many women out there that just stuck in that culture on bad habits, or I don't know, they're just stuck somewhere, and it's just everyday hard work or whatever it is, just lift them up. Just make sure they come over here. They don't have to work, you know, they don't have to work and be an executive somewhere to dress good and look good. This is the goal of my company. I'm taking those women and giving them confidence. There is so many kids and young adults out there that just stuck in those reality shows and TV. They think this is how they get successful. I'm taking all my experience with all of my last years, and I'm giving them all this experience. My employees in my company, there are kids, there are young adults from the ages 20 to 25 that they just don't have chance. When I was 21, and I was,
Hadari,
this is my dream.
Please stop. I need to give you some feedback.
Okay.
It's great. You want to give women confidence and a good experience. All that is wonderful as your, you know, philosophical mission, and all that is great. But if you if you're trying to build a business, and especially if you want other people's money to build that business, then the key thing that they are interested in learning is how are you going to make them money. This is not a charity. I imagine this is not set up as a nonprofit and you're not looking for donations from people, you're looking for investors. When investors invest in businesses, they're looking for a return on that investment. And that means that you're going to have to learn how to build a business that can give return on investment to investors. And right now, what you're presenting just does not fulfill those criteria. So you have two choices. Either you can choose to learn the process of how to build a business that's, that may be investor worthy, or maybe the way to do it is you learn to build a business by bootstrapping and taking, maybe some inventory financing and so forth and scaling it that way. And but whatever it is, if your stated goal is to build a business, then you need to learn how to build a business. And you already have a business that you've built up to $500,000. But what is not consistent is what you think you're building or what you want to build and the goals that you're suggesting that you have on this slide here with all the other things that you're saying in terms of what that business is. This is the problem. Does that make sense?
To be honest, I need you to define for me. Don't know how to. I have exactly a plan how my company is going to make a lot of money this year. So I don't understand why you're thinking I don't have a plan how my company is going to make money. Any other company in my
maybe you have a plan. We just haven't seen that plan, and we don't buy into that plan based on what we have seen here.
What do you mean?
Because we don't have the details of that.
Okay, so if you're interested in investing in my company, whoever is interested in investing in my company or want to know how we're going to make a lot of money this year, more than welcome to contact me personally, and I'll explain exactly how we're going to make this money. But how to make money, I know exactly how this company is going to make a lot of money this year.
Wonderful, Hadari. We wish you all the best. I hope you become tremendously successful and make huge amounts of money and build a fantastic company and help lots of girls develop self-esteem. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Okay, folks, we're going to move on. If you like what we do here, and I'm going to emphasize this point of trying to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And if you're not open to hearing that, that's fine. That's okay. You can, you can decide what feedback you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept is fine. Our philosophy has always been, from the beginning of 1 million by 1 million, and we are on this 298th roundtable today, is to tell you what you need to hear. And if you like that philosophy, if you want that kind of feedback, and if you're willing to kind of act on that kind of feedback, we will be able to help you. We've helped a ton of entrepreneurs achieve their goals. So if that philosophy appeals to you, we also have a request that you please refer serious entrepreneurs over here. And we're looking for entrepreneurs who understand that building a business is a block by block, multi-year process. And also, there is as I said, there's a huge misconception that investors are waiting around to write checks, and you can just present the concept that investors will start writing checks. That's not how it works. Raising money is a fairly complex game, and you're going to need to learn how to play that game. So if you are serious about raising money, you're going to need to actually do a lot of bootstrapping and getting to a point where you're ready for investors to be interested in working with you and investing in your business. And if you're not willing to do that, and if you're basically hand-waving and kind of, saying that, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, I just want your money. No investor actually invests that way. And that's just the reality of the game. This is, at some level, this is a game, and if you know how to play the game, if you want to learn how to play that game, we can teach you. But if you're not, and if you think you know how to play the game, well, go play it, and I hope you win. But if you are looking for help in learning how to play that game, that may be a more open and more promising psychological position to start this process with. So if you decide that you want our help in learning how to play this game, then go to 1m-by-1m.com and you'll find tons of resources, actually tons of free resources. These roundtables are free. You will find a blog that is free, that is chock full of material from which you will be able to learn. There's the Entrepreneur Journeys book series that's available on Amazon Kindle, and there are 12 volumes of those that you can learn from. That's also a good starting point to learn the methodology that we have developed here that is working. This methodology of, putting one foot before the other and building value, getting to customers, getting to revenue, getting to profits, and if it makes sense, getting to financing. This is a sequence, it's a methodology, and there are lots of nuances to each of those steps. It's something that works. And if you want to learn the nuances of it, we know how to teach you that as well. So go to the website, play around. If you want to pitch at a roundtable, come pitch at one of the roundtables in the upcoming sessions. And the other thing that I want to mention is a hack that some of our community members, the 1M1M community members, have kind of figured it out themselves, is we just launched a curriculum-only 1M1M basic program. So, typically we've had the premium program, which is our annual membership fee-based program, where we offer you extensive methodology guidance. We offer you an online curriculum that is video lectures and case study based. We offer you help with business development. We help you through this kind of coaching, mentoring in private roundtable sessions. We help you with financing. We help you a lot with media relations and getting the word out there about your business and about your value proposition. So traditionally, this is the program that, after you use these free features and free functions, that if you need more help, this is where we would recommend you go. Recently, we've launched a 1M1M Basic, which is curriculum-only monthly subscription. So, Maureen, if you could put the link to the 1M1M Basic program, that would be great. There you go. And what you can do is you can sign up for 1M1M Basic and start learning the methodology on your own. And if you're not ready to join the premium program, you can start there. And you can use these free roundtables to come, you'll get one chance to pitch at a free roundtable. If you decide that you want to do the curriculum first and then come to the free roundtable, that is actually a very reasonable way to use the program as well. And we've seen some people starting to use the program in that mode. And that's fine with us. You'll just have a lot deeper conversations here with me. When you come here, if you actually study some methodology, you will be at a much more sophisticated level when it comes to using this particular opportunity. Okay, so just wanted to point you to that. If you go to the website, you'll find the $1 Million Club, where you'll find case studies of success stories in the program. You'll also find an analysis, ROI analysis of what you get if you join the program, and so on and so forth. The 1M1M self-assessment is a free, again, a tool that we provide you so that you can learn and you can ask yourself these questions. If you are even contemplating raising financing, these are the questions investors are going to ask you. And you absolutely have to answer these questions. And if you fail to answer these questions, you're going to fail in investor due diligence, or you won't get invited back by investors for further discussions. So this is, as I said, this is part of the game of raising money. And if you want to play that game, please, invest the time and energy and the resources to learn how to play the game right. Otherwise, you're going to bounce around and you're going to go out of business because, you know, it sucks a tremendous amount of time to try to raise money when you're not ready and you don't succeed, and instead you run out of runway and you go out of business. And that's not a productive way to build a business. Okay, so that's pretty much it. There's tons of material on the website. You will find huge amounts of resources just free, available for free, and then in the program you'll find all sorts of additional, more sophisticated resources. The case studies have been developed over the last 10 years, by the way. We've had over 700 successful entrepreneurs, including 50+ unicorn entrepreneurs, 350+ entrepreneurs who have raised serious venture capital, and then we've also focused very heavily on understanding the success nuances and success strategies of bootstrapped entrepreneurs, and all this has been packaged in a way that you can learn from their strategies and their, you know, their techniques of how to succeed. So that's the basis of the program, as I said. The curriculum is very powerful. You'll learn a lot. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. And the mantra is bootstrap first, raise money later, because that's what investors are looking for. They're looking for validated businesses. And you're going to have to validate your business and develop a strategy, a compelling story against which investors feel comfortable investing or want to feel compelled to invest. So that's pretty much it. We can go to questions. By the way, we have free roundtables every week until the end of April. So there are lots of slots, lots of sessions available. You can come and work with us in any of those. We are ready for questions actually at this point. If you would like to ask questions in public chat, we can start there. You can also dial in, and we'll be happy to continue the conversation with you for the next 15 minutes. So I see Camilla Milton, who's motivated to work harder to see his ideas not only translate to mainstream, but to literally change the world. Okay, you're going to tune into this roundtable. So Suchi Mehta, you took the self-assessment test yesterday. Don't send me private messages, folks. Send to all participants so everybody in the room can actually see what questions you're asking. So folks, those of you who have questions about how the program works, please feel free to contact Irina Patterson, who's on the 1M1M team, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Her email is irina@1m1m.com. Suchi, you should contact Irina with your questions, and you know, she will help you understand. I don't really have the bandwidth to work with people unless they're in the program. I focus my energy entirely on these private roundtables, these public roundtables, and the members in the program, in the premium program. So I don't really have the time to work with you to help you understand the program and how we're going to help you. That's Irina's job. She will do it happily, and if that satisfies you, great. Otherwise, continue to use the free resources and see what you can get out of it. There is a huge amount of free resources that we offer you to learn from. So, you know, if you're not willing or able to afford the premium program or even the basic program, just continue to use the free resources. Anybody else? Questions, comments, issues that you want to discuss? Are there specific trends or topics or you know, business ideas that you're trying to get a sense of or get some perspective on? Or are you intrigued by? Suchi, you're building a media company. Great. Awesome. You can call in. You're welcome to call in. Go for it. Yep, the number is on the screen. By the way, I'm going to give you one piece of feedback for those of you who are, dead set on raising money. Investors actually look for entrepreneurs who are willing to listen and who are coachable. If you give out the signal that you know everything and you don't need any coaching, and obviously, people with more experience looking at you can see that you need tons of help and tons of coaching, you're not going to raise money because investors are going to come to the conclusion that you don't listen, and then they're not going to invest in your company. So ego is good. Ego is what drives us to be successful entrepreneurs and achieve what we achieve. But if ego becomes a block to learning, that is going to hinder your success. Peter Heron is asking me privately, please don't ask me private questions. This is a public roundtable. Can I speak to you about raising money and share our plans? Peter, you can talk to Irina about how the 1M1M program works. I don't want to spend time here now, talking about how the details of the 1M1M program works. That is something that you should ask Irina. There's, again, tons of material. Frequently asked questions are all answered on our website. How 1M1M helps entrepreneurs raise money is on our website. You can look at the video. Somebody's streaming echoes into the call and needs to be muted. Suchi, are you on the line?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi. Thanks, Sana. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to pitching to you next week. I am actually working on an exciting, media project. We are trying to create a positive image of India and its culture amongst young children. Just as Dora the Explorer introduced the world to the Latina culture, I'm building this brand called Three Curious Monkeys, through which people would learn in a very simple way about India and its culture. So the idea is. So
you're planning to pitch this. You're planning to pitch this business next week? Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, then that's great. I'll look forward to listening to your pitch and working with you next week. Okay. Okay. Then we should just continue next week, you think? Yeah. If you have any other question that is not relevant to your pitch next week, you can ask now. But if you're planning to pitch next week, then let's not, duplicate the time. Makes sense. Makes sense. So yeah, I mean, the other questions that I have is, when I'm considering joining your program, and what I'm really looking for in the program is obviously step-by-step guidance that you guys are saying. I have bootstrapped my company so far and, reached a certain revenue, but I am not only looking at step-by-step guidance, I'm also looking at, how to build a company, how to scale things, how to build a team, how to get introductions and all that. And I was wondering if, all that is also part of the program. All that is part of the program. All that is part of the program. Okay. Okay. That is the program. It's not lecturing and attending the classes and all that, but it is more than that, because some of the things I have self-taught myself, and I have an MBA degree also. So I'm going through all of that content, but it is a guidance. I'm going to tell you one thing. You should try to understand the program before you join it. This program is not for everybody. This program is not for everybody. Yes, so and that's what I'm trying to understand. Yeah, so this is not a good way for me to, spend the time here. This program has an online curriculum. There's a self-learning component to it, which you're going to have to listen to those lectures and study those case studies and develop your understanding of the methodology. And if you're not willing to do that on your own, please don't join the program.
No, I mean, I would be willing to do that also, but there is a very, very important aspect to that. An extension to that is you do your homework and then somebody gives you the feedback and an actionable plan.
So there is a roundtable component where you come and discuss your, what you're learning, how you're moving through the program and how you're adjusting your strategy, etc. So that interplay between online learning, curriculum mode, and interactive mode in the roundtables, that's how the program moves. And we have moved many, many, many entrepreneurs through the program and enhanced their learnings and helped them make strategic decisions in this mode. So it's a tried and true methodology that we have come up with, but it only works for people who are willing to work in that mode. And that's why I'm kind of cautioning you that if you're not willing to follow the methodology of the program, it's not going to work for you, and then don't join the program, please.
Right. So I don't want to, if I will join the program, I will follow it, to the core.
That's right. If you choose to join the program, you need to follow the methodology.
Yes,
and as far as financing is concerned, introductions, all that is part of the program, but you have to be financeable for me to send you to investors. I'm not going to send you to investors gratuitously. You're going to have to get to a point where you have a compelling story, and we'll help you build to that. But if you're in, some businesses are just not fundable, so if you after going through the process, it looks like that your business is not fundable, then you will not get introductions to investors. Please understand that we reserve the right to make that call, and that is why investors work with us, that we don't bombard them with businesses that are not financeable businesses.
And that's fine, but if if working with you, you tell me that, okay, you don't really need outside money, but this is how you can get money, or, this is how you can make efficient. So ultimately, my whole goal to work with you is not just to get finance, but also to make sure that my business is viable.
That's right, and that's where our focus is. Our entire focus is to make your business sustainable and successful.
Yeah. And
your business needs to have customers, revenues, and profits. That's how you build a sustainable business. Financing is optional. Exit is optional.
Yes, and that's what I'm looking at right now, because I mean, one path is that I keep doing, what I'm doing at a very slow pace, and that would mean that, I am letting go of some opportunity costs because I'm spending my time building this business and I'm putting some sweat equity, and it would eventually grow. But then that's not the path that I'm looking for. I'm looking to grow it quickly and to grow it, firstly, obviously independently if I can. But if I can't, that's when I would look for, external financiers. So,
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
So good. Thank you for answering my question, and I look forward to interacting with you next week.
Very good. I look forward to it as well.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Peter, you asked for Irina's email. I just put that up. You've got it. Irina@1mby1m.com. Anybody else? Any other questions? Folks, I cannot tell you how helpful it is to take that self-assessment test that we referred to. Maureen, would you put the self-assessment link on in the public chat, please? Ask yourselves these questions. Make sure you have the answers to these questions, and that is going to be your key to building successful, sustainable businesses, with or without financing. We're not hung up on financing, and you shouldn't be hung up on financing, but it's okay to, if you can come up with something that deserves and warrants financing, go for it. But answer these questions more than anything else. Answer these questions. And it's not even you have to answer to somebody else. Answer to yourselves. Ask yourselves these questions. Answer yourselves. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Peter, are you okay? Do you need any other answers? Okay, great. All right, folks, looks like we have gone through all the questions and answers, and we will be back here next week and every Thursday, actually, until the end of April that you've seen the schedule for. You can go register for whatever date that works on your schedule if you're looking for a slot. If you choose to, you can go sign up for 1M Basic and do a bunch of curriculum and then come and present. That's fine too, and you'll get more out of the presentation and the interaction. So whatever mode you want to engage with the 1M program is fine. Free, basic, premium, whatever you prefer is okay, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.